Right. This is the second video of this type that we have done, comparing clubs starting 11 10 years ago with their current lineup and seeing how they compare before putting together a combined 11 for a bit of fun. There are actually a lot of parallels between Liverpool's 2008-09 season and their current 2018-19 one. Both campaigns involved title challenges which went down to the wire against Manchester clubs, both saw them reach the quarterfinals of the Champions League and suffer early exits from both domestic cup competitions. Now, the Reds will be hoping that this season they can go one better than 10 years ago and finally get their hands on the Premier League title ahead of Man City, having finished second to Manchester United in 08-09, and they stand a great chance of reaching at least the semi-finals of the Champions League. Here is Liverpool's 2009 team versus their 2019 one, our combined 11. Goalkeeper: Pepe Reina versus Alisson Becker. We kick off with one of the trickiest decisions in our entire 11, choosing between Pepe Reina and Alisson Becker as our number one. Alisson is Liverpool's best goalkeeper since they sold Reina, of that there can be no doubt, and Brendan Rodgers' decision to let the Spaniard go looks a little dubious given the calibre of replacements which followed him. Both Reina and Alisson are renowned for their ability with the ball at their feet and their distribution, although Reina stood out more by virtue of doing it at a time when it was a little less commonplace. Reina was just about at his best around 2009, so this isn't an easy decision, but we think Alisson is probably the better shot stopper and just about the more complete goalkeeper, so he takes his place between the sticks. Right back: Alvaro Arbeloa versus Trent Alexander-Arnold. Whilst much of our combined 11 here is a formality, as with in goal, right back is another tight call. Alvaro Arbeloa spent 2.5 years at Liverpool, registering just shy of 100 appearances and reaching a Champions League final. He subsequently returned to Real Madrid in 2009, where he played almost 250 games and won 2 Champions League titles, along with 6 other trophies at Real, 2 European Championships with Spain, and a World Cup. Clearly, he was a player of some pedigree then, and this was both his last and his best season in a Liverpool shirt, although it did involve an in-game bust-up with Jamie Carragher against West Brom. Challenging him is current Liverpool star and fan favourite Trent Alexander-Arnold. Aged 20 but already a key man in the Liverpool side, it's important to remember we're comparing 2009 Arbeloa to 2019 Alexander-Arnold, and not their careers on the whole. With that in mind, I'm going for Alexander-Arnold. Arbeloa was shrewder defensively and could double up as a left back, but I'd rather have Alexander-Arnold's pace and intent going forward, and it'll be clear as to why as we progress through this team. Centre back: Jamie Carragher versus Joel Matip. If it weren't for injuries, we'd probably be talking about Dejan Lovren or more likely Joe Gomez as Jamie Carragher's rival for a place at centre back, but as it happens, our 2019 candidate is Joel Matip. I should point out for those of you who didn't watch the first video we did of this type for Manchester United that we are comparing the players who have played the most games in their respective positions in their respective seasons, and not the ones who we feel are the best. As such, we think it's a pretty easy win for Carragher as our right-sided centre-back. A Liverpool legend who spent his entire career at Anfield, registering some 737 appearances, the second most in the club's history, Carragher was named as Liverpool's Player of the Year in 1999, 2005 and 2007. Joel Matip is a decent centre-half, but this one was a bit of a no-brainer if we're honest. Centre-back: Martin Skrtel versus Virgil van Dijk. A lot has been made of Virgil van Dijk's performances since signing for Liverpool, and he has improved their backline an awful lot, I'll give him that. Martin Skrtel was a bloody good player though, and since I'd say the Slovakian international was more of a force in the air, he's our choice here. Just kidding, had something there didn't I? On a serious note, making it 2 from 2 in terms of incredibly easy centre-back decisions, Martin Skrtel was an admirable servant to Liverpool who put in some memorable performances, but Virgil van Dijk is in a different league. While Skrtel was often very good, robust and aggressive in defence, he always had a mistake in him, whilst Van Dijk is so strong, composed and often looks like he's coasting through games. The Dutchman is nailed on to win Liverpool's Player of the Year award this season. He'll almost certainly win the Premier League Player of the Year award if Liverpool win the title, and he might even win it if they don't. He is a class act, and he should form a very formidable partnership alongside Carragher for us here. Left back: Fabio Aurelio versus Andy Robertson. If Fabio Aurelio had avoided any serious injuries during his 6 years at Liverpool, we would have a tough decision to make here, and I suspect it would lean in the direction of Aurelio. As it happened, he picked up long-term injury after long-term injury, restricting him to fewer than 100 appearances in his 6 seasons. It was rotten luck for a player who had all the tools to be a top-class left-back, and as such, we'd have to go with current Andy Robertson over 2009 Aurelio. Robertson has proved to be an inspired signing by Jurgen Klopp, making the step up from getting relegated with Hull City to challenging 4 titles at Liverpool with ease. I still think Robertson has plenty of room to improve in terms of his defensive positioning and the way he is occasionally bamboozled up against a world-class wide man, but he suits this Liverpool side down to the ground and he's out at left back. Central midfield. Xabi Alonso versus Jorginho Wijnaldum. In terms of formation, I should point out that whilst Rafa Benitez tended to play a 4-2-3-1 in the 2008-09 season, Jurgen Klopp predominantly goes with a 4-3-3 Anfield right now. There isn't a great amount of difference between the two, to be fair, except for the fact that Liverpool's 09 team had 2 sitters and 1 advanced midfielder, whereas the Liverpool team of 19 tends to have 3 box-to-box midfielders. Personally, I think Fabinho is Liverpool's most important midfielder right now, but he hasn't played as many games as the 3 who feature here, starting with Jorginho Wijnaldum. Having made mixed impressions at St James's Park with Newcastle, Wijnaldum's importance to Liverpool was made brutally obvious with the club's poor form in his absence earlier this season. That being said, we'd still take Xabi Alonso over him all day of the week. The 2008-09 season was Alonso's last at Anfield before heading to Real Madrid, and the intelligent, hard-working master passer had his best campaign in a Liverpool shirt. There's no way we're leaving him out of our 11. Central midfield. Javier Mascherano versus Jordan Henderson. It is easy to see how Liverpool challenged for the Premier League title in the 2008-09 season with a holding midfield partnership of Xabi Alonso and Javier Mascherano. Both players would go on to enjoy success in Spain with Real Madrid and Barcelona respectively, particularly Mascherano, who is now playing in the Chinese Super League. Mascherano made a big impression in his 3 and a bit seasons at Anfield, and Barcelona got a bargain picking him up for €24 million. Jordan Henderson, meanwhile, is a very capable central or holding midfielder who is widely underrated and does the simple things well and without too many thrills or spills. As I said, I'd have Fabinho as Liverpool's best hitter right now, but whether it was Henderson or Fabinho, they're still losing out to Mascherano in our starting 11. Central midfield. Steven Gerrard versus James Milner. In Rafa Benitez's 4-2-3-1, the central player in that 3 was Steven Gerrard. With Alonso and Mascherano in behind him, Gerrard was relinquished from any defensive responsibility, and instead of playing as a box-to-box midfielder, he played as an attacking midfielder, just in behind the centre forward. The result was the most prolific season of the Liverpool legend's career, scoring 24 goals in 44 games, a tally which saw him named as the FWA Footballer of the Year, Liverpool's Player of the Year, and a FIFA Pro World 11 inclusion. It also means that despite being a brilliant servant to Liverpool and a superb signing on a free transfer, James Milner doesn't stand a chance. Arguably Liverpool's greatest ever player and just about at the peak of his powers in 2008-09, Gerrard would probably have to be the first name on our team sheet. Right wing. Kuyt versus Mohamed Salah. A decision which maybe takes a fraction of a second longer than that of Van Dijk versus Skrtel or Gerrard versus Milner, but that's about it. Kuyt had 6 admirable seasons at Liverpool, never showing a lack of willingness to give his all for the cause. That almost makes it sound as if Kuyt wasn't a talented footballer, which wasn't the case, but the versatile Dutchman spent most of the 2008-09 season on the right flank, which means he's up against Mohamed Salah here. Salah won't better his heroics of 44 goals in all competitions and 32 in the league last season this term, but he is still incredibly prolific for a wide player. He's on 20 for the season at the time of this recording, and that's despite teams targeting him following his brilliance last term. We like Kuyt, we'd love to have him on our bench, but there's no way he's beating Salah to a starting spot. Left wing. Ryan Babel versus Sadio Mane. Oddly, both of these players have scored in the same Liverpool game this season when the Reds won 2-1 away at Fulham. Babel arrived at Anfield aged 21 from Ajax, and he threatened to become a top player, but could never quite tie it all together. Quick and good on the ball, Babel showed flashes of brilliance, but it was often his final ball which let him down. The same certainly cannot be said of Sadio Mane this season, who was also quick and good on the ball, but has scored more Premier League goals in 29 games for Liverpool this season than Babel did in 91 during his 3+ years on Merseyside. Another easy decision, as Mane makes it 6 players to 4 in favour of Liverpool's class of 19 so far. Centre forward. Fernando Torres versus Roberto Firmino. Last but not least, along with in goal and at right back, I'd say this was the trickiest decision in this 11. At first, I thought Torres for sure, but it's worth remembering that his 2008-09 season, while still very good, was a far cry from his 2007-08 season, which put him among the best strikers in the world. The Spaniard bagged 17 goals in 38 games in the season in question, compared to Firmino's 14 in 39 so far this term. Clearly Torres was still more prolific than Firmino's now, but one can't overlook the Brazilian's contribution to this current Liverpool side's all-round play, with his fantastic work rate, combination play, and ability to win the ball back high up the field. Then there's the question of Firmino's link-up with Salah and Mane, who are already in our 11, versus the fantastic chemistry Torres shared with Gerrard, who is also starting for us already. In the end, I still think the right choice is Torres, who made the PFA Team of the Year and the FIFA World 11 in 2009, and was virtually unplayable at his very best. The team. Right, that's it for our 1-2-11. As a quick recap, our combined Liverpool 2009 and 2019 team reads like this: Alisson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jamie Carragher, Virgil van Dijk, Andy Robertson, Xabi Alonso, Javier Mascherano, Steven Gerrard, Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, and Fernando Torres. I have to say, that's a pretty outstanding lineup, stronger than I expected to be honest. For those of you who watched our 2009 vs 2019 Manchester United Combined 11 video, let us know which 11 you think looks stronger between that one and today's. Also feel free to let us know which teams you'd like to see us look at next if we continue this series, along with any other future video ideas. As always, thanks for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and make sure you're subscribed to HITC Sevens.